High in the Sierra Nevada range, a complex forest of pine and fir thrives. Yet, just a short distance beyond the edge of this forest exists a barren and seemingly lifeless world filled mostly with huge outcropping of granite rock. This forest edge is actually a transition zone where lifeless materials meet the living. It is here we can see how a forest ecosystem may have started thousands, even millions of years ago. It all begins when these tiny life forms, called lichens, move in. They are the early pioneers of this forest, the first inhabitants. The lichens actually secrete an acid which dissolves minerals from the rock. Their assault on the massive granite outcropping seems irrelevant at first, but eventually the mighty granite rock gives way to the tiny lichen and begins to fall apart. This, along with the constant effects of weathering, will eventually deteriorate the granite until a pocket of eroded rock particles may accumulate. These fragments of granite represent the first primitive beginnings of soil. Yet good soil, a necessary ingredient for most plant life, consists of more than just rock particles. The addition of dead plants and animals, referred to as humus, must also be present to form good soil. Humus adds to the depth of the soil and increases the soil's capacity to store water and valuable plant nutrients. Soon additional plant life like mosses, ferns, and grasses may take root. As these plants grow, their tiny root-like fibers and leaves stretch out to gather sunlight. And it is here an amazing process called photosynthesis takes place. Chlorophyll contained in all green plants transforms sunlight, carbon dioxide from the air, and water from the root system into carbohydrates, or food for this plant. Without this conversion of energy from the sun into food for the plants, no ecosystem can exist. Photosynthesis not only converts carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight into food, but it also releases valuable oxygen into the air. As new plants grow, their roots create complex networks which act as tiny seed beds to hold and collect materials passing by. Additional seeds of other plants, carried here by the wind, may also take root in this seed bed. Each new plant that takes root advances both the soil and the ecosystem. The seeds of many trees, like this pine, are also light enough to be carried by the wind. Each fall, the pine cones open, and these tiny winged seeds fall out and ride the wind currents, sometimes taking root hundreds of feet from where they fell. Other trees, like these oaks, have seeds too heavy to be moved by the wind, yet they can still take root many miles from where they fell to the ground. Animals, like this squirrel, can take the seed and bury it in the ground as a future food source. If the squirrel forgets where he buried the seed, it may take root after the winter snows melt.